What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN USD. It is the 13th day of November, and here we are at about $0.0065 with 9 hours and 50 minutes left in the day. Really, that much? We're already that far into the day. It's crazy. Hit the like button, subscribe. Let's get into it. I have a feeling that Bitcoin is going to see slightly lower lows here, or at the very least push back below $100,000, and either of those results might likely bring XCN to lower prices as well. Here we are looking for a break above $0.007 on a daily closing time frame. We actually, what we did instead was we rejected that level. So rejecting that level is not ideal. Likely we do come back down. That doesn't mean that we have lower prices to go than this. It's possible. It could. But certainly something lower than where we are now. That's what I would expect. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. We'll zoom out from there. Of course, I do still assume that we're going to see a very massive pump any day now, any week now. It's going to happen, but we might have a little bit more resetting to do before that happens. So looking at the 1 hour time frame here with our RSI, we've got a bit of a downtrend, don't we? We've got lower lows and lower highs. It looked like we were breaking out. It really did look like we were breaking out, and that would be a good thing. Finding support at prior support here, that looked really nice, but it was a farce. It was a false. We actually just found resistance at the 60 and came back down here. We're still really just in this downtrend, lower lows, lower highs overall. There is a situation or a scenario where we are like moving sideways after moving down, and sometimes this does imply that we will be moving higher, but with the overall, I don't know, vibe of the markets right now, I would think that we go lower, rejecting the 50 instead of counting on this, shift in momentum, turning sideways and then turning up. I'm just going to look at the data, and what we're doing is rejecting the 50 here. We're living below the 50. Very bearish situation to be in, and I typically would expect that we'd get oversold before we recover, and that would be lower lows here, lower highs there, go a little bit lower. Makes sense to me. Stochastics are bearish, and the MACD is postured in a bearish way overall. You are green right now, but I'm not impressed. Looking at the 4 hour time frame, it does seem as though we've broken out of this trend here where we were looking to find support. What we did instead was back tested this for resistance, and now we've gone lower, so that does likely imply that we do have lower to go. That doesn't mean that we have lower than this low, right, to go. It just means that we likely go lower than where we are now. I doubt that we just broke out and this is all we've got. We probably have some kind of significant drop to come, right? We've actually, from this exact area, dropped that much in like a 6 hour period before. So we could come, by the end of this day, we could be all the way down here or lower, really. But I do expect some kind of drop to happen. If we look at this from a low to a high, from the low to high, the target areas that come into play would be about the golden ratio to the 886, something between 0.0058 to 0.0062, something in that range there. That's what I would expect. And if we don't hold 0.0058 on a 4 hour closing basis, we likely do go down to 0.0052 to 0.0048, somewhere in that range, and we'll go from there if that's the case. But I don't know if we're going to go that low. I think that we will hold support somewhere in this zone here. My bet would be on 0.0626 to 0.0615. OnyxCoin does like to find significance at its golden ratio, but we'll see. We'll see. Looking at the indicators on the 4 hour time frame, the RSI has broken out of its uptrend. I don't know if we're in a downtrend. I mean, we do have lower lows and lower highs, but I don't know if we're in a downtrend. It's not as well established as like this was here. We looked to find support at the 40. Rejected the 50, found resistance there, and we didn't find any support. We're just back down here. So I really do think that we will go lower, maybe to the oversold zone, maybe into the oversold zone, depending on how it goes. It is Thursday, so tomorrow, Friday, if we're moving down today and if we're moving down tomorrow, likely we'll consistently be moving down into the weekend as well, or at least consolidating. So we could see some kind of more pronounced drop if that happens, if we have more time. I don't expect the weekend to be too bullish. Maybe we get the Sunday pump again, but I don't expect it to be too bullish. Stochastics are bearish, and the MACD is disappointing, right? We had the same thing happen with Bitcoin and various other cryptos where you're breaking up above the zero. We were expecting some consolidation after that, but then we were expecting you to continue to rise. Instead, we've actually just had a false cross, and now we're crossing back down. The last time we had that, I mean, this was the result, and that was not good. I don't think I have to tell anybody how bad that was. Hopefully we don't get that same result here. Hopefully we do find support somewhere relative to where I was saying, 0.0626 to 0.058, somewhere in that range. But it does look like we're going lower based off of our indicators here on the 4-hour time frame. Looking at the daily time frame, the RSI is set up for bullish divergence. It's very well set up. You've got lower lows, lower highs. You're in a bearish trend clearly. And with how low you've gone in the RSI, I can't see a scenario really where we won't find bullish divergence. Even if we do go below this low here, I can't really see a scenario where we don't find bullish divergence. So that should, this bullish divergence on the bright side, okay, what will happen with this inevitably, that should take us above this area here, which means that not today, not this week like we were thinking it would be, but probably next week, if not certainly going into the later part of this month, we would be back above 1 cent. We should be seeing a double bottom, a slightly lower low, slightly higher low, whatever it might be, that gives us bullish divergence, and then we move higher. Some of you might hear that and you might be like, how do we get a higher low and yet we have bullish divergence? Well, if we close, all we have to do is close below here. We don't technically need to go below this low. So we can have a higher low in the price, but a lower closing price and have bullish divergence. So with that setup, again, I would think that we move back up towards 1 cent. I would assume really OnyxCoin moves all the way back up to about like 1.03 to 1.35 cents, somewhere in this range here. Likely, I mean, not just by the end of the month, but probably by, if not by the end of next week, then the following week, sometime in there. Stochastics are disappointing, right? We're finding a lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high here. We were looking to break above that, but I don't think we're going to get that here. And the MACD just crossed green, which is nice, I suppose, but it's not really, it's a lagging indicator. I'm not going to weigh on that too much. I mean, the last couple times we crossed green, it didn't really help us. We crossed green here, and we went lower. We crossed green here, and a little bit of upside, but we went lower. So I'm not going to bank on that as any kind of significant thing, right? I think we will go lower. And again, if we do go below this low, from a low to a high here, if we happen to go below this low, the lowest that I'd see us going to is about 0.0048. 0.0527, 0.0048, somewhere in that range, if we were to take this low out. And I don't know if we do, but I'm open to it at the very least. When we recover, the only applicable zone, looking at it on a weekly time frame, if we were to recover from here, would be right here at about 1.05 cents to 1.4 cents, somewhere in this range. We'll probably move rapidly up to here, consolidate a little bit, continue to move up higher, and either by the end of the month or maybe early December, I would expect that we are back at 2 cents or higher. Still expecting that we will see higher prices from here to there by the end of the year. I would expect that we do see something around 8.8 cents to 19 cents by the end of the year, and we could even push beyond that going into 2026. That's the expectation overall. So I got nothing else. Thank you all for being here. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves, all right? And I'll see you on the next one. Likely Bitcoin does go below 100K, so prepare yourselves for that. Likely Ethereum will go down as well, and OnyxCoin. Altcoins as a whole, the market as a whole is about to take another hit. It might, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, it'll be the last hit. We are very, very near extreme levels of fear, and I think that's what it's going to take for us. Once we get to extreme fear, that's what it's going to take for us to bounce and recover across the spectrum in crypto. So I got nothing else. Hit the like button. Take care. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.